Welcome back to the Elias Makos Show. Now, last week, the federal government announced a $1.4 billion action plan for official languages. It's spread over 5 years. The money will help support minority language communities in Canada, and that includes $137 million of this money for Quebec Anglophones. But, of course, this is all part of the government's reimagining of the Official Languages Act and Bill C-13. There have been accusations from a lot of people that Bill C-13 throws Quebec Anglos under the bus, for lack of a better term, and there's a lot of worry in the Anglophone community about just what Bill C-13 will mean for Anglophones. And we have heard from a whole lot of politicians on the subject, from Liberal politicians on the subject. And you may recall Mark Garneau. Remember Mark Garneau? He resigned as MP, and he said Anglophone minority rights in Quebec were a hill to die on. So let's now talk to Anthony Housefather, Liberal MP for Mount Royal. So many Anglos in that riding. It's a pleasure, Mr. Housefather, to talk to you again. Welcome back to the show, Anthony.
Hey, Elias, it's great to be with you. Can I just correct one thing?
I know you guys love to do the corrections. Let's hear it.
It's a $4.1 billion action plan. It's an increase of $1.4 billion.
Okay.
The amount for English-speaking Quebec in it is about $280 million. Just wanted to correct that.
So the old money and the new money equals $4.1 billion.
Yeah, exactly. It's $1.4 billion in new money.
Okay, so let's forget about the money, because I think just throwing money at problems is the easy way of doing things. Let's talk about the legislation here. Are you going to vote for Bill C-13?
I've made pretty clear over and over that I can't vote for the bill in its current form.
So you're not going to vote. What does that mean for you in, the Liberal caucus amongst your Liberal colleagues? What kind of risk are you putting yourself in by not voting for this bill?
It's not about me personally. It's a question of what I think is the right thing to do for the people I represent. So whatever it means for me is not really the fundamental question. It just means that I right now just can't vote for the bill in its current form, as I made clear at committee, because I'm concerned about the references to the Charter of the French Language and the Official Languages Act. But I would note, Elias, because it is important, that Liberals at committee did vote to remove these references and voted against Conservative and Bloc attempts to add dozens of new references. So Liberals actually took the position that I was advocating for. We had two original references in the bill. We voted to remove both of them. And the Conservatives in the Bloc put forward over 24 amendments to add new references, and Liberals voted against all of them. So even though
then the Liberals could remove the bill. If the Conservatives in the Bloc made this bill so bad, I would imagine then the Liberal government, your government, could say, "Oh, geez, they made this bill so bad, we won't go with the bill," right?
Not quite. I mean, the bill is proprietary to the whole House, right? It's not proprietary to the government. When a committee sends the bill to the House, the majority in the House can vote to do whatever it wants with the bill. Liberals are a minority. But I think we also have to recognize that Francophone groups outside Quebec, Francophones in Quebec, they really want this bill. And there's many good things in the bill. The problem is these great things that are in the bill, more powers to the Commissioner of Official Languages, et cetera, are, for me, overshadowed by the fear and the risk of the references to the Charter of the French Language in the purpose section of the bill that got added by the Conservatives in the Bloc. But if you're not an English-speaking Quebecer, you have to recognize that other people may prioritize things differently. And so the risk to us may not be their number one priority.
Is there a possibility that the vote on this bill will be whipped, where everyone's told you're a Liberal MP, you have to vote for this bill? Is that a possibility?
Of course.
And what will happen in that case? If you're told that you have to vote, and this is the Official Languages Act, right? You're told you have to vote this way. Will you face a difficult decision as to whether or not you stick around in the Liberal Party?
Well, it's not a question of sticking around in the Liberal Party. Overall, I strongly agree with Liberal values. And again, as I mentioned, even at committee, the Liberals supported my position on getting rid of these references. So it's not a question of whether I'd be a Liberal. The question, of whatever happens, if it's a whip vote, that's a question for the whip in terms of making that decision. All I know is, as I said from the beginning, I can't vote for the bill in its current form.
So it sounds a little bit here that you're preparing for the blowback here from the Anglo community when this bill does indeed pass. What's your message to people in your community, Anglophones in general in Quebec, when the Liberals pass this bill, get this Bill C-13 successfully
again, it's not
passed?
the Liberals passing it. The Bloc is voting for the bill. The Conservatives and the NDP are voting for the bill. It's not the Liberals voting for the bill. What I would say is there was a very major distinction between how Liberals have acted on official languages, including supporting removing these references and not adding new ones at committee, and the other parties that voted to add new references. One of the things, by the way, Elias, that's happening because there's a lot of votes before this bill gets to a final vote. One of the things that I've been advocating for and fighting for at report stage is even if I am not comfortable with the bill, I still want to make it better. At report stage, the Liberals have put forward an amendment on the right to work in French legislation to say that nothing within this legislation stops the company from also using English and other languages, which is something that I've been fighting for from the beginning. It didn't get adopted at committee. The Liberals have put that forward in the House at report stage.
Okay.
So it will mean that on the right to work in French that we've been so concerned about, there's going to be a general provision saying that nothing within that bill stops a company from also doing things in English.
Okay, but what about?
I was very concerned about.
But enshrining Quebec's Bill 96, right? Including Quebec's Bill 96 within this Official Languages Act, the thing that led to Marc Garneau saying this is a hill to die on, I'm out. That wasn't the Conservatives or the Bloc Québécois. That was the Liberal government. No, that was you.
No, the Liberal again. The Liberals put it in. Two references at the beginning, agreed.
In the preamble, right?
The committee voted to take them out. So I was able, and others, because it's not just me, there are people like Emmanuel Lombropoulos, Jerry Romanado, Annie Katrakis, Patricia Latanzio, others who have been arguing on this issue as well. And we persuaded our own party at committee to vote to remove the two original references that we put in the bill and to vote against adding all the references the opposition did want to add. So there is, again, a major difference between the Liberal position and the other party's position on this. And English-speaking Quebec should be aware of that. Your MPs fighting on this issue made a difference in the view of our caucus and our Prime Minister.
So for all the names you just mentioned of the Liberal MPs that are going to be in a very tough spot when this bill passes, right? For all of those MPs, what are you guys saying amongst each other here about this bill and how it may affect, your political futures?
Again, I don't think that that's the right way to look at it. Of course, people are concerned. You would be blind to not realize that everybody wants to be an ally to the rest of their party and the rest of their team and the rest of their caucus. But in the end result, what we need to look at is at the final version of the bill is the overall good things in the bill outweighed by the risk to English-speaking Quebec to make you unable to vote for the bill, and that's something that everybody's going to have to determine on their own. There's
a headline here's a headline that you guys are facing, right? Headline in the Montreal Gazette. It's a column from Alison Haynes. Trudeau is throwing Quebec Anglos under the bus with Bill C-13, right? And the headline isn't amendments that were made by the Bloc Québécois and the Conservatives. It's Trudeau is throwing Quebec Anglos under the bus. How damaging do you think that will be to the Liberal brand amongst Montreal Anglophones?
Again, I've been doing my job as an MP to advocate over and over and again to remove these references, and the Prime Minister, in the end, agreed, right? He agreed that the preemptive use and notwithstanding clause is unacceptable, that we need to challenge that, and we voted to remove those references and not to add new ones, and everybody in English Montreal needs to understand that your Liberal MPs made that happen at committee and that our position is entirely different than the other parties. Whether or not the bill passes or doesn't pass, that is a true fact. And I get the frustration. I myself, again, more than anyone else, Elias, have been dealing with the concerns the community has about this bill and doing my best at a legislative level to get the bill changed to be made acceptable to our community. And all I was able to do was get my party to take that position. I have not been able to convince the opposition parties. But I'm doing my best. I will keep doing my best, and my colleagues will keep doing their best, because that's what we were elected to do, to represent the people who voted for us.
And just to be clear, Justin Trudeau or Ginette Petitpas-Taylor, the minister, the Liberal government, you could withdraw the bill if you wanted to. There's still time to withdraw this bill if it's causing so much debate.
The debate is, I mean, we have to be honest. The debate is solely within the English-speaking community of Quebec.
Uh-huh.
Like we're the ones that are preoccupied. There does not seem to be anyone else in the country that seems preoccupied about this bill. And so the bill being withdrawn, I don't know, honestly, procedurally, when it's back at the House, right? The majority of the House could vote to continue with the bill. The government can't just withdraw a bill when the committee has sent it back to the House. So that's not actually procedurally accurate. Uh-huh. The House can vote by majority to do anything it wants, and the committee sent it back to the House at report stage. I think right now, as I mentioned, the Liberals are amending the bill or seeking to amend the bill at report stage to fix the language of work thing to say that the company is allowed to operate in languages other than French. That's a good addition. And that's where it is right now. I can only try to make things as good as they can, and if in the end I can't live with it, then I have to bear the consequences.
Mr. Housefather, I look forward to seeing how this all shakes out and to vote day when this bill comes up for a vote in the House of Commons. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Elias, for having me on and listening. Hey, have a great day.
You too. That's Anthony Housefather, the Liberal MP for Mount Royal.